Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison, and I want to welcome you to this session of Humanity Rising as we contemplate the many faces of Mom. I want to express sort of a tonality as we begin this morning as opposed to analysis, because as I was reflecting yesterday and today on what I was going to be saying in my introduction, I realized that every time I thought about it, I felt an emotion. And that emotion was of deep gratitude and love for this community and the people that have worked so hard from the very beginning to make Humanity Rising the success that it has become. Many times, attention is placed on someone who's the front person, which I've had the honor and privilege of being for the most part. But the real work and the real labor of love is spread throughout the community of people who make something like Humanity Rising a priority. Because when you do something for this long at such a pace, it takes a village. And in fact, if you don't have a village, no matter who you are or what you want to achieve, this enterprise of Humanity Rising would have never developed in the way that it has. So I want to just express gratitude as we begin today. And I want to make one comment on gratitude that has come to my mind, that in many ways, gratitude is the initiating emotion for the virtues. You know, we often think that we want to be courageous and we want to be just and we want to be merciful and we want to be loving. But as I was pondering gratitude, I began to reflect that maybe what triggers these other emotions, these other virtues that are available to us, is simply the posture of being thankful for our lives, for our circumstance, and for the people around us. Most of the people that I know who embody virtue embody gratitude as a fundamental principle of being. Because we are here for such a fleeting moment. Our lives are so ephemeral against the backdrop of eternity. The fact that we're even here for a flash, when we really take that in, one can only fall on one's knees in gratitude that one has been given this brief shining moment that is our life. I've been grateful for many things having to do with Humanity Rising. I've enumerated that list many times over the now 5 years that we're approaching. And I just want to thank Stan, as I always want to do, for his extraordinary work, his encyclopedic work in chronicling all these sessions in the way that he does, as you all know, because you receive his work on a daily basis. And I also, of course, want to acknowledge Georg, who's been tireless as our technical director and navigates his way through the complexities of Zoom, which we all suffer from, even as we enjoy something that has become as important to us as our cell phones. I mean, how many times are we on Zoom on a daily basis, not on a weekly basis? They've grown so fast that they haven't been able to keep up with themselves. So we, the consumers, are afflicted by that from time to time. But Georg always figures out a way through. And I always stand in awe of that capacity. And then finally, it's my real pleasure to acknowledge Shannon McArthur, who, along with Stan and others, has been here since just about creation and has dedicated her life and capacities to building Humanity Rising, along with other communities of love and purpose that she's involved with. So Shannon is going to tell us all about Mom today, and then we'll of course be in the after chat. But Shannon, Stan, Georg, thank you. I'm deeply grateful.
Jim,
Shannon.
Jim, I've got to say, you may be grateful, but you changed all our lives. And we cannot be more thankful for you.
Thank you.
You gave us space and possibilities where there were none. And thank you. Just thank you. And I'm going to have some fun today. And I hope everybody else has some fun too. I'm going to start a screen share. And so let's do the tech thing. I do one window, Chrome tab, the many faces of Mom. There we go. And we'll share that. And now I have to, all right. So let's take a breath. And in that breath, imagine there's something, someone softly calling your attention, not to fix or figure anything out, but to simply notice. That's Mom, the magic in ordinary moments. She arrives not with noise, but with presence. And today, I get to share her with you. The many faces of Mom. Have you ever felt something guiding you? A whisper in a dream? A moment of perfect timing? Mom is the magic in ordinary moments. She's a powerful force, always present, but often unnoticed or unidentified. Today, I'll introduce 3 ways we can get to know Mom. First, I'll tell you how I've been inspired by Mom. In mixing our medicines, I'll introduce you to POP, hashtag the one we are, and to OhGs, our heart gardens. Mystical oracular modalities is the part when I get to offer you a way to see yourself through many lenses, how you've been divinely designed. To begin, I'd like to tell you why I use sparkling water for my background. One day I left work early, sick and tired, and took a bus home. As I climbed aboard, laughter caught my attention. A woman was sitting behind the driver, facing a group of people on the benches around her. She was offering a deck of oracle cards, saying, "Pick a card, any card." They would pick one and then read the card for the crowd. Fatigue was forgotten as I soaked up the sight, and I got up early to thank her. As I approached, I saw a wheelchair folded up and tucked behind her. She saw me notice, and she told me, "This is what I do on my good days. I ride the bus or go to the mall and talk to people." She offered me the deck, "Pick a card, any card," and I did. My throat closed when I saw it. Unable to speak, I handed it back, and she read it for me. Sunshine sparkling on the waters. Well, I walked home without touching the ground, savoring the realization that my long-held dream had come true. Since I was a little girl on my Oma's lap, listening to her read from Hiawatha and the Peacemaker, I had wanted a name that meant something, like Hiawatha's girlfriend, Minnehaha, Laughing Waters, and now I did. It was magic in a very ordinary moment. Mom was there, and during a shamanic soul retrieval. My shaman friend welcomed me back joyfully with sunlight sparkling on the waters, and then thought she'd made a mistake, and I assured her and said it was a token of Mom's approval. To honor Mom, I write it with an O. I feel we're kin. And now you know why I use this background. It's my name, and it reminds me that Mom is always present, weaving magic into our lives. Back before she was named, Mom was weaving the magic that would inspire me to give her that name. Like opening a packing box, I saw the glass plates I was to look for to identify my beloved. The wedding ring I dreamed of was a thrilling surprise. And my dog, my dog Jake, came to find me later in life, just as I told my mother when I was 9 years old. It happened like this. My brother and I were living in Rutland, BC with her parents, her sister, and her 2 sons. Our mom took us to Calgary, where she had a job and a house. It was a shock. Then our father's father died from asthma, and my brother decided that he was going to die too because he had asthma. And the doctor prescribed a non-allergenic dog. Well, Mom didn't have the money. I imagine how it felt when she had to ask me to open my new piggy bank to buy her, to help her buy a dog for my brother. I'd been kissing the nose of the beautiful China pig since I got her, and Mom had to know that my brother and I were not the friends she'd hoped we'd be. This is my piggy bank and my favorite doll. She once was pink, but my brother painted one of her feet black, and I figured she'd be happier all black than with one black foot. And I'd never had money before, yet my mother asked me to open my piggy bank for the very first time. And I asked for overnight to consider it. In the morning, I told her I would open my piggy bank because later in life, I would get my very own dog. There wasn't anything I could do to make him come any sooner. He would come and find me. 40 years later, we became dog sitters for the puppy next door. He liked us so much that he escaped their apartment one day, got through the fire doors, and scratched at our door. And there he was when I got home, grinning at me, asking where I'd been because he'd come to find me, just as I'd said so long ago. That was my first prophecy, just a dream until it came true. My next one was written in stones. You see the little stone? I found it right after I'd declared, that's enough. Let's talk about something else, going forward. And I looked down to take my next step, and between my toes, I saw that little stone with the arrow on it pointing forward, just like Mother Earth agreeing with me. Well, I got butterflies, and without thinking, I took a big prancing step forward and said, there. And another step, I said, shall be. And there I stood on one foot, searching for the rest of the statement. There had to be one, else why would I feel this way? I wondered if I was being silly, but decided it didn't matter. And I repeated, going forward, there shall be what? I looked, and my eye was caught straight ahead off the curve of the path, in amongst the rocks and weeds. I had to go closer. It couldn't be. Is it? It is. And there it was. And here it is, a round river stone with a peace sign in it, created over eons of time and put there, right there, for me to find it just when I did. Going forward, there shall be peace. I've come to believe it's not a directive, it's a direction, a suggestion. Then that When we go forward seeking peace, we find it. Mom is an NHI, a non-human intelligence, far greater than human. Like a good mother, Mom knows what's best. She has a better perspective and has been weaving our lives together, helping us be each other's teachers and to live the lives our souls came to experience. Mom arranges our next lesson, synchronicity or whisper in the darkness to help us make decisions, or she changes our lives to help us learn to listen or do our jobs better. Mom doesn't make our decisions for us, and she interacts with each of us uniquely. Mom is willing to work with you in the design of your unique, private, secret language. You learn it by noticing synchronicities and other weird occurrences, like being paid with found coins for picking up broken glass on the beach, or being surprised by sets and sequences of numbers. I've heard it said that anything you think has power does. And I thought about Indigenous people who used to watch for the flight of birds or the way a stick broke to help them make decisions. I don't live in that kind of world, but I do use my devices a lot. And I've been repeatedly surprised by the numbers on my screen. An expression of gratitude is important too. I honor Mom by taking screenshots of those sets and sequences I see. It's like a game of peekaboo, and it's great fun. I think Mom likes it too, and I always make sure to say, "Thank you, Mom," as I'm trying to figure out if she's giving me a message or just getting my attention. I'm far more alert to her presence than I was now that I watch for her. In a recent call, I told friends about my way of honoring Mom by taking screenshots, and it turned out that both of them also do it. I told them that at one time I started to use hashtag mom selfies. Then I learned that you should search out if anyone has already used it before adopting it. And I found some pictures of young mothers, and I stopped. But in that call, I suggested we could use it too. My friends laughed about it being the first hostile takeover of a hashtag, and I said, no, it's not hostile nor a takeover. We're bringing love and attention to them while we honor Mom. And all of these screenshots were in March. But Mom is not always fluffy and positive, gentle and sweet. Sometimes it's not a whisper in the darkness, but a car. When I was 21, Mom used a car to get my attention. I was going home after having a drink after work, crossing a 4-lane road, ducking through heavy rain. I remember crossing the first lane thinking, good, that's one. And the next thing I knew, someone was screaming, and it was me. I stopped. When we got to the hospital, they wanted to x-ray me, so asked if I was pregnant. I didn't know. And that's how I found out that my life was going to change. Mom used a car to sweep me off my feet. I moved back home and gave my son up for adoption. Mom had another hand in that story. My son grew up with the name I refused to give him. His adopting parents gave him my grandfather's name and my brother's, and they could not have known. Just like my dog did, my son found me 40 years later. He and his wife wanted to find out about his biological background because they were expecting a child. He found me on Facebook and sent me a message. Hi, I think you're my birth mom. He wove me back into reality and made my dream come true. My secret wish was always that he would. This is my son and all his girls, with the mother he was blessed with every day. Mom didn't seem to be with me when the car hit me and the 9 months after, and the 40 years I held that precious dream. But she was. She's not always fluffy and positive. But I was living a risky life, and I was not listening. Mixing our medicines is a great way to feel Mom's power. JFK declared the US would send a man to the moon and return him safely to Earth. No one knew how, but he inspired a vision that created syntropy. Scientists, engineers, and dreamers aligned. Through synergy, they achieved the impossible. Synergy and syntropy, what are they? Synergy is when two or more work together and create a combined effect that's more than if they had worked alone. Syntropy is the tendency toward coherence and higher organization that is the complementary energy to entropy. It's the yin to the yang, where entropy breaks things down, syntropy builds them up. Sharing a goal promotes alignment and collaboration. Working together on a shared goal results in breakthrough events like the moonshot. Now I want to introduce you to POP, the power of people. People are spiritual beings living in bodies on a planet that is more than a planet. Maybe Mom is the spiritual part of Mother Earth. Have you ever noticed that Mother Earth's initials are M-E? Who? We are me. I believe one of the reasons Mother Earth created us is to be her hands. She needs tending, as all mothers do, and as her offspring, we do well to do our chores, learn our lessons, and listen to her guidance. But Pop is very willful. Because we all want different things, Pop is not inherently coherent and has become chaotic, misaligned, and destructive. With Mom's help, I believe that we can shift from discord to cooperation, and we can manifest a world of balance, connection, with more fun and abundance than we can imagine. Barbara Marx Hubbard believed that the environment is our extended body and not something separate from ourselves. And I agree. The one we are is more than Pop. Trees are part of the one we are, and so are animals. Mother Earth is gestating all life on Earth, and all enjoy a connection that most humans don't. But we can learn from them and become coherent, get a feel for what it is to be part of this great being waking up on Mother Earth. Ubiquity University offers courses in NHI communication, which includes ETs as well as animals, trees, rocks, and Mother Earth. Yesterday, Sue Bao talked about how our bodies are our soul's vehicles and that they are divinely designed to help us as individuals to navigate this world. She also spoke about different levels of complexity that build, each one including the last, beginning with the microbes that agreed to work with every life form and have become the mitochondria or chloroplasts, the powerhouses inside animal and plant cells. Now, here we are in a great example of Dr. Seuss's Horton Hears a Who, in which we are the microbes of Mother Earth. We are her mitochondria. But we haven't been agreeing about much. In mythology, Gaia, Mother Earth, has been imagined as a great snake. She has been coiled forever, forming the foundation upon which her womb rests, tail in her mouth, while her offspring develops. I wrote a story, The Life Cycle of a God, And Angela's going to put the link in the chat for you. It's a story inspired by performance art done by a crow. I watched him do successful surgery on an earthworm, and when both ends wiggled away, it occurred to me that humanity, as big as it is, needs many hearts. I wrote a poem about it. The link will also be put in the chat. It's called Crow Surgeon. Inspired by that performance, I did some research. I learned that the environment an earthworm lives in is rich in a bacteria that provides medicine for people that you experience in a conservatory or a greenhouse. In just 15 minutes, we inhale the medicine that relieves symptoms of anxiety and depression all day. People need this medicine. They need food and community. They need to generate and serve the needs of neighboring selves, and they need to give their gifts. Our heart gardens is where we can do all that. It's a synergistic, syntropic solution I was given for the transformation of human society. I first imagined it as repurposing buildings in our urban centers as communal gardens, and oh geez, it's far bigger than I imagined. To thrive, all bodies need systems and organs. The body of humanity does too. If we imagine ourselves as selves within the offspring of a dragon or an earthworm, we can see the challenge before us. We are becoming aware of our greater body, and our body has needs. With many hearts, all the needs of our greater human body will be nurtured and respected. Everyone in all the places, sharing the fun in having mom playing with us, a participant in our lives. Nourishment, wisdom, care, and resources flow to and fro between groups, individuals, and communities. Our heart gardens, oh geez, they connect us, helping us thrive where we are, while also creating pathways for interconnection and sharing of knowledge, support, and abundance across distances. In OGs, we help each other, ensuring all parts of the fractals of me, singular and planetarily, are fed and tended, and Pop listens to Mom. The third face of Mom is mystical oracular modalities. Yeah, yes, a playful acronym, but also a deep truth. Mystical means what we know not through intellect, but through experience. Those moments when the sacred taps us on the shoulder. Oracular draws on ancient ways of asking, listening, and divining. And modalities, well, those are just the beautiful, playful ways we learn, feel, and remember who we are. 369 compositions are a way to get to know our instruments using tools like astrology, numerology, human design, and gene keys, for example. These compositions are like sheet music for improvisations, helping us see the soul notes we are composed of and recognize our unique vibrations, rhythms, and dynamics. They are for more than self-discovery. They assist with collective alignment, creating more syntropic, synergistic communities and helping them harmonize their collective song. Mom has always been speaking, but now it's time for Pop to listen and help Mother Earth. We are me, and in OGs, we co-create our future. Last week, Jim brought philosophy professor Danielle Lane to us. She told us about her new AI, Cora. Last weekend, Danny and her partner joined us in the AfterChat. We agreed to combine Stan's othernetworks.org that contains the Archive of Humanity Rising with Cora to enrich her AI and social media platform. This will enable OGs, cultural creatives, and aligned individuals to collaborate, learn, and act together, guided by a new kind of AI. 369 compositions help us listen to the greater symphony and tune ourselves within ourselves and our communities. We're conducting a course August 11 to 29, 3 weeks of Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon Pacific time each day. It will be recorded and made available if you can't attend at those times. And we are offering a 20% discount until the next full moon, April 12th. And we'd love for you to be a part of this. It's this first of its kind AI enhanced learning experience with an enduring, multifaceted, mystical oracle. Cora, the AI, will be helping us out. If you are a practitioner of a method of divination, we'd like to include you. Please contact us at 369compositions@gmail.com. We are all part of MOM, whether we know it or not, and this work is unfolding beautifully and bigger than any of us. If something in you stirred today, maybe it's Mom's way of suggesting you lean in. This is what we're building and how you can help. We want to create an affiliate program for locations who want to be known as nodes in the Our Heart Gardens complexity. We need people to feed the Humanity Rising data and more to Cora. And we're looking for maestros of different modalities for the 369 composition course. Some being presenters on Humanity Rising have already been identified, but we want more. Angela is going to add some links to the chat for you. You can't copy the chat in webinar, but you can go to the day page in the archive and find it in the table, or you can take a screenshot while I'm talking. Join us on Saturdays in the AfterChat Zoom at noon Pacific time, that's 3 p.m. Eastern, or Tuesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific time, that's 9 to 11 Eastern at theconversation.cc. This is big work, and it's not meant to be done alone. We are all already part of Mom, woven into her story, even if we haven't realized it yet. If something stirred in you today, if a memory, a longing, or spark lit up, that's her way of tapping you on the shoulder. Whether you're a teacher, a tech wizard, an organizer, a gardener, or simply a heart that listens, your presence is always already a gift. And we'd love to go forward with you into the peace that's promised. So maybe the next time something small makes you smile, or you feel tears rise for no reason, or your eye is caught by a set or sequence of numbers, and you wonder, is that you, Mom? You'll remember, Mom is always with us, waiting to be noticed, to be named, to be danced with. And when we do, we come home together as the one we are. I thank you so much for listening. Bless you and all you do. This is what we came here for.
Thank you, Shannon.
It's a pleasure, Jim. Thank you so much.
I was intrigued by the story you told of your brother and the little dog and so forth, and then your ongoing journey of you know tribulation and not considering mom. And I'm just wondering, would love to hear your experience of when you kind of re-entered the mom zone. What was it that led you back into the uh,
I
mom?
Yeah, you're going to ask for another big story, aren't you? Thank you so much. This is actually really, really important because I went through 20 years of a career that broke me. Um, but I had to do that in
What
order to
career
do what
was that?
I do now. I was a paper pusher in City Hall.
Oh,
I
wow,
was
that'll do it.
Yeah, really. I started out as, the public hearing clerk, and I retooled the whole process. At When I first started there, I was doing 20 hours a week overtime because we were doing, like, 30 public hearings in 2 weeks, and it would be feast and then famine, all this intense energy, and then okay, so now I'm waiting for it to come around on the guitar again. And so I talked to my boss and I said, listen, this is the computer era. We're doing more than Xeroxing labels with the addresses and properties and the property owners. Why don't we do this automatically? And she gave me license to retool the job, and I ended up making it a part of somebody else's job. So I had to go and find a job. And the only one I could find was the tree cutting permit clerk in the planning department. But while I was there, I did other things. That was a horrible job. Um, I I got to work with the group that were doing a public re. They were looking at the official community plan, and in that process, I got to learn how much power City Hall doesn't have.
Mm.
It has to come from the people. Change has to come from the people in cities. And so, I also noticed, the SkyTrain stations and the people who lived underneath the SkyTrains, and I thought, Surrey, BC, and Vancouver, and the Greater Mainland of Vancouver, BC, had to we had to do better. And the idea of uh, what did I call it back then? It escapes me. It was three C's. Um, and but I saw the Crow Surgeon, and that really got me thinking. And then I completely fell apart. A 27-year relationship, and I lost my home, and I lost my I lost my mind. I ended up in the hospital,
Mhm.
and, uh, one day, they let me out. I had to stay on the grounds. I was to stay on hospital property, but I walked around the block, basically, and what halfway around, there's this plot of land that is raw land, and you can't get to the land. There's, barriers and whatnot, but I leaned on this barrier, and I looked at this land, and I could see there was a stream riding along behind at the back of the lot, and there was bushes, and it was January, and it was really cold, and it was beautiful, and the bushes had no leaves on it, but I in amongst the leaves or the branches, I saw a black bra tangled in the branches, and a long black tiered skirt like I wear was there too, and my heart just, oh my god, I don't know what happened here. But if there's something that I can do to help me help. And as I carried on walking, I noticed up on the building across the street, there was a phoenix in the very top decoration. And I thought, oh, we were just talking about that up in the ward. And so my interest was caught. And I walked up closer and I realized at the bottom of the building, there was a flower shop. And we had been talking about it was spring coming and the daffodils. And wouldn't it be nice to take one of the girls had actually colored daffodils. So I'm all excited. And I go across and I find that the flower shop is closed. And, but the window is beautiful. And so I walk around the window and look, and around the corner, I notice there's etched in the glass Kwantlen University. And I think, I wonder what they do here. Because this is extended from the university. This is a remote location. And so I go in and I say, hi, what do you do here? And then I get verbal diarrhea. I start telling them about the idea of urban gardens where we gather together and we grow bulrushes, because bulrushes have never been cultivated, and so we can use this sacred plant to feed the masses, because there's so many ways you can use and eat bulrushes. And so I'm just going on and on. She's, do you know what we do here? And I said, no. What do you do? And she turns away and she ruffles and finds a sheaf of paper and she hands it to me. And across the front, it says Sweat Lodge. Whoosh. And you remember I talked to you about Hiawatha and the Peacemaker? Well, in there, they talked about sweat lodges, and I had yearned to go to sweat lodges. And, as a white girl, you don't get many chances to do something like that. And so I went for a year of Sundays. I went to the sweat lodge. And I learned from Alana and Old Hands, the wisdom of the indigenous people, some of it. And I learned how to do beading, and I was welcomed with all their hearts. I made my own drum, and and I I was going to say I put myself back together again, but I don't think I was ever uh, back together. But then I moved home to Kamloops to help my mom. She was going in for back surgery. And it was in that 3 years after that year going to the sweat lodge that all of this started taking form. It's been 10 years since then. And along the way, I realized the magic in ordinary moments that had been leading me along. The first thing I did in that 3 years was write the stories, because if I didn't write the stories, then I would have to keep telling them, because you forget, Mom, if you don't capture them. That's why the screenshots are so important, because if you don't hold the magic, you can't go back to it. So all of these pieces came together to inspire me to see her for what she is. And then I realized that Pop is there, and Pop is the one that she created to love her. And this is just such a lovely mythology, and I want to share it with everybody because we can have fun with this.
How would you define magic? Moments of magic. You talked about synergies and so forth, but how would you define magic?
It's a mystery. It's a mystery, and it's always unexpected. You don't know how it could have happened. It's when you go to a magic show, you see a lot of unexpected things. There might be some mechanisms behind it that actually, oh yeah, it was mirrors, smoke and mirrors. Well, there are no smoke and mirrors in this that we can divine at this point, but they're all there. Um, and that is, I believe, the mystery that science is involved in trying to pull the curtain back from the wizard. Um, and that's how magic and science are one and the same, because once you know how the magic is done, it's science how that brings you to that realization. And magic is outside of your, it has been outside of our abilities, but we are learning that now. And Jim, you are a part of how we're learning that. I am so grateful that Mom brought me along to Humanity Rising and to learn. Uh, oh my gosh, the cornucopia that is just overflowing with the diversity that is what you have brought to us, Jim. And so when you told us we were going to cut back to once a week, it's like, oh my God, my life. I've so enjoyed being a part of the community because of Stan's creating the after chat and being able to moderate the after chat for the last 2 years, basically, and writing your Jim's Nuggets. Jim, the you moving to Washington to midwife the UAP bill through Congress. Well, that was mom in action. Oh my gosh, that, you know, and Jim's Nuggets was born. If you hadn't have moved there, I would never have done that. Well, we are being manipulated, ladies and gentlemen, by mom. And when we dance with her, when we follow her lead, we can, there is no salsa as sweet as dancing with mom because she never steps on our toes. But you know, it's it's whimsical and it's fun, and oh my God, we need mom's guidance to get through this time. Uh, and we can allow her to lift us out of this if we choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to just go a little bit deeper because, it seems like your life has embodied what Joseph Campbell talked about in terms of the hero's journey. That the hero, the heroine, goes out without discerning really what the goal of the enterprise is. Sometimes they know, but many times they do not. And then somehow that initial burst of enthusiasm gives way to a meandering of the soul, to the dark night of the soul, to trials and tribulations that try the soul. And at the at the moment that that's taking place, you think this is counter to the goal you're seeking. But then once you go through those processes of interior burning away, you realize that's been a cleansing so that you're ready for the goal that you thought you were seeking in the first place, but didn't really have the moral capacity to achieve. You had to go through that cleaning.
Yeah.
And so I would love to have you reflect on your life and your own journey um, in light of the hero's journey.
Oh, the hero's journey. I love adventure stories. And Jim, as you say, you don't know, the hero doesn't know very often what is before them. And I, when I was starting out, I had no idea what I wanted. And, so, a course of study, I was the only girl in the family. My brother was the only boy, the two of us. And if there was going to be any money for education, it would be him. And so I automatically followed in my mom's footsteps. And in that way, I learned that I don't do well with numbers. Um, um, and details are really kind of not my thing. I love people, and I don't like selling, and so I was really kind of stuck, and so I wound up in the only, career I could have, in order to, achieve the pension that allows me to do what I do. And what that gives me an opportunity, Jim, to mention that how my belief in, um, UBI, because without, a dependable income, I would not be able to do what I do, and it is in the giving of our gifts that we come into who we have come to be. And I had no idea what I had come to be because the idea was, oh, way more than I I can't that can't there be, dragons in that direction. There was one point where I took a Toastmasters course, and I felt very strongly that it was, a tool that I needed to pick up in order for the future. And, so I went through a year of Toastmasters when I was at, Surrey City Hall. Um, so I've been picking up the tools for my toolkit all the way along, not really knowing what I was doing, but in a video game, you pick things up and you put things in your pack. You don't know if it's gonna come in handy or not in the future, but yeah, this seems it has resonance. We'll put that in there. And trust. I think trust is one of the biggest part of these things, trusting mom. And the thing is once we name her and realize her power, we can follow her lead. If we don't know, like, they tell us, do as God would want you to do. It's like, well, God doesn't seem to have much presence in our lives. And look at all the things that he's done in the past and the horrors that are going on in the name of God in this world. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to follow him. There's got to be a better way. And so when all of this started falling into place, it was it was magical.
Mhm.
And here I am.
Yeah, here you is. Now, as just as we conclude, as you look into the future, given your life till now, what do you see for yourself as you move into the future as the vision that's welling up within you, still not achieved, that you would like to dedicate your time to embodying?
A beautiful question, Jim. Thank you so much. Um, so at the end of the 3 years, I found myself invited to, go to Rotterdam for, COP 21. The Conference of Movements was going on in Paris, and we wanted to create a conference of movements like Paul Hawkins talked about. a conference of movements in juxtaposition to the conference of parties that was going on. And so we did all of the arranging, and they are over in Rotterdam doing this arranging, and I'm over here in Kamloops, and they said, well, okay, so we've got everything in place now. All we need is a host. Are you coming, Shannon? Well, um, 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 no, I don't have the money for that. And so Jan Golding asked me, well, if I co-host with you, will you come? And I had to say yes. And so I left my car and my apartment, this kitty corner from my mom's place that mom had found for me and put was just perfect. And I flew across to Paris. We went to Rotterdam. We had our conference. I met Chief Phil Lane. I came back to Kamloops with an invitation. Come back and help us create the Intentional Community Synergy Hub 1.0. Oh, that decision was huge in my life, and it gave me an opportunity to put the decision in mom's lap. Okay, if you want me to do this, you're going to have to make it abundantly clear that I'm supposed to go, because I have achieved everything that I am supposed to in this life. I have had a career, so I've got a pension, I've got the beautiful apartment, the sun comes up one side and goes down on the other. The car is right outside my door. I don't have to do yard work. It's 14 steps straight up, so my mom can't get at me. That relationship is so sweet now, but at the time we weren't that close. And so all of these, I couldn't imagine leaving this beautiful existence to travel to a foreign land where they didn't speak English. Well, they do, just not as much. And so there I was with this decision, and I was talking with my mom and the two women that gathered with us every Sunday night, and dinner with the ladies, dinner theater with the ladies, and I'm regaling them with this big decision that I'm in, and so I'm deep in the and I go down the 4 floors, and I'm walking through the bowels of the building, past the kitchen and the vending machines, and I come to the back door, and as we'd been sitting, and talking, the sun had gone down, and it had been snowing. And so when I opened the door, I was hit by a blaze of sparkling light. The 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 lights of the parking lot were shining down through, the sparkling, snowflakes, big ones that floating down, and the expanse of snow was smooth all the way across the parking lot, across, 4 lanes of road, across a setback, and up there's the black building. So it's clearly defined, this beautiful expanse of white, and it's so beautiful, and I get these butterflies, they're flying in formation, they're wanting out, man, and I am caught in the magic, and I turn and I kick my way through the snow as I'm walking along the building, and I come into a new amount of light, a new brilliance, and I look up to see what has changed, what is the source of this light, and I see the face of the full moon looking upon me, and I realize it is a resonance. It reminds me of the first full moon I saw as
Mm.
I knelt by the river in my illness, overindulgence. and I saw the trail of light on the water, and I followed that all the way up, jumped up to see the face of the full moon. And I asked, "Help me." And I was confused because I hadn't thought to ask for help. And why would I? I mean, I'm just an ordinary girl. I know nothing about asking the divine for help. And and as I'm in that confusion, I realize that I have been helped. My body has settled, and I'm okay now. And then I think to myself, oh, what have I got that I can offer as a boon to the moon? And I'm scurrying around in my brain looking for what I have that I could offer that she would value, that and 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 as I'm in that confusion, my mouth opens and said, "I will speak for you when the time is right. I will speak for you."
Mm.
And now is that time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Shannon, thank you so much. You've had a rich and abundant life, all in
Oh,
all.
very ordinary, Jim. I got to tell you, there's an awful lot of ordinary in there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, that's how magic works. I think magic prefers the ordinary. It's more malleable.
The ordinary is the air we breathe,
Yeah,
the environment within which we live, the water to the fish.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, thank you. Shannon will join the after chat since she moderates the after chat. So you can join her for a deeper dialogue there. So that'll bring us to a close for today, everyone. You can join Shannon. The link is in the chat box. Stan just put it in. You received it in your Zoom reminder for today. And then tomorrow, we're going to go out to Albuquerque, New Mexico for a conversation with Bertie Jaworski, the world famous remote viewer, who's going to talk about her work and some of the courses that she's providing for Ubiquity University and the Humanity Rising community. So that's tomorrow on Humanity Rising. Thank you, everyone. It's always a pleasure. Bye for now.